noise!
Welcome back to the next part of this Truth and Rhythm episode. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you've already done so, please share it with friends. Also become a member by joining Truth and Rhythm on Patreon, or consider donating at funkinstuff.net. Thank you so much for your interest and support. Enjoy.
You mentioned some of those other bands like Instant Funk, and Kim Miller's been on the show. And you also played with Kleeer, and those guys have been on the show. Did you have fun doing some of those projects?
Oh, yeah. Well, see, me and Kim go way back. I mean, the one I played on, I Got My Mind Made Up, which was a big hit for them. And Kim is actually the producer for Lorana's record, you know.
Huh.
So it's family.
Man, there's some great music coming out of that Jersey area, huh?
Oh, yeah, they have a lot of. See, one thing with Instant Funk, when they're in their heyday, they had Big 12 as a manager. He was like a Suge Knight. So it was rough playing, you know, working for the mob. He said, "Where's so-and-so?" "Oh, he's out on the balcony renegotiating his contract." And you go out there, the cat's being hung by his thumbs over the balcony. So, yeah, I can tell you stories. But Kim, he's great. You know, he's a solid guy. He's on some of my records. So, as soon as I get some time, I'm gonna try to put some stuff out. You know, just now I got to worry about being physically in shape to do this tour.
Yeah, well, 2 knees, that's serious business right there. That's a lot of rehab.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so one day at a time and one step at a time.
I want viewers to know, unless I'm wrong, I mean, you're credited for playing on all these great Kool the Gang hits like Get Down On It, Let's Go Dancing, Misled, Cherish, Joanna.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they were as big as it gets back then.
Oh, well, it's just, that's how it is. But the stuff that we got now is coming out. Because we've been recording at Georgia studio. It's keeping up with the times, you know.
Are they getting funky again?
Yeah, it's funky. We're always going to have to keep the funk alive, you know.
That's what I like to hear. Yeah. But did you not play on the Ladies Night album?
No, that was I think it was already out when because it was like just a live version of that stuff. But that was already processed, you know.
But you've been in the studio with Deodato?
Yeah.
What's he like to work with?
He's like a genius. He actually did a gig with us not too long ago, like 2 years ago. He's funny cat, you know. But yeah, I mean, the way he learned it, you know, he had to translate from Portuguese to English and back and forth to get his degree, and you know, he put the time in. Yeah, he's a good person.
Yeah, I'm glad he's still at it. I mean, what a long, distinguished career, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you see as the funk and jazz relationship? You know, there's so much crossover between the two genres. You know, so many jazz cats went and tried funk, and more that way than funk going into jazz. But there certainly is that connection. How do you see the interrelationship between funk and jazz?
It's like as one, you know. But see, a lot of people are sleeping the gospel because a lot of the musicians, some of the baddest cats went into gospel. You know, it's like not the market is not there. You know, even with funk, it's, you know, with funk, people seek that music. You know, it's like George Clinton. He extended his summer tour. You know, now he sat in with us with a big old nasty get down, so he knows all those people. You know, and then Greg, the sax player.
Greg Thomas.
My phone calls him all the time.
Greg Thomas or Greg? Yeah, Greg Thomas.
Yeah. So it's a family thing, you know. It's like I played with Sly's daughter, I think. What's her name? We played Long Beach Funk Fest with the girl that plays she was with Grand Central Station for a while.
Patrice?
Yeah, Patrice. Chocolate.
Yeah.
So we're good friends, you know. And everybody's in little pockets, you know. To have some major funk fest that's they can tune into be a great idea. But everybody's struggling because it's a different market. You know. It's really, you know what they're going to pay attention to. You know.
You mentioned in talking about George Clinton, how much do you think he was influenced by Sun Ra?
Oh, he's talked to, I've asked him about that. He said, I dine the same place that Sun Ra does, out to lunch. Yeah. So they've had time, because back when George was doing doo-wop, you know, so he heard about Sun Ra. When Sun Ra was living in Chicago, he would go out to the park and all of these people would come up and ask him the strangest stuff, what's the world way and all this stuff, and he'd always answer them. So one time they had an argument, this one band said, well, Sun Ra, you know so much, why don't you bring my dead sister back? Bring my dead sister back. He said, okay, if you promise to carry her on stilts for the rest of her life. He said, oh, dang, I can't get you again. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, talk about an unconventional thinker.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if
there was times when we did we were traveling on a tour of Europe on train. And someone said, fellas, I want everyone to have 13 cents in their pocket to show that we are united. And this is like when I had Pico got his voodoo doll. That's a whole history. Because when he bought the thing, he said, no, this is too powerful for you, but I know there's someone that is, you know, is powerful enough to have it. So Pico came and bought a little voodoo that he kept in a wicker basket and told about Sun Ra. Sun Ra went and bought the statue, which is like a 4-foot statue, and sometimes it looked like it was looking at you. So anyway, we're going to, I think, Amsterdam, and it's one of those train stations where this train stops, you get off, and it backs up or something. And we thought that the equipment was still on there, so Sun Ra said, well, Pico wants to talk to your voodoo doll. So he says something, and the train comes back. That's mean Pico had the power then. So there's a tenor sax player, Kenny Williams, that played in the band. He was always, you know, getting drunk and getting late. I mean, I've seen him first time in the red light district in Amsterdam. he fell to his knees and pulled out $200, and the girl in the window shut the curtain on. So anyway, he's trying to sneak back to Amsterdam while we're in Utrecht. And he's walking down the hallway. Big cat, he got his bag and his horn. And son-in-law was watching him and said, and he asked Kenny where he's going. Where you going? He said, I'm going for a walk. He said, with your horns? Somebody confiscated his passport. So he said, I'm going to call the voodoo man on you. Son-in-law calls the voodoo man, and the cat says, yes, I understand there's one that does not listen. It'll take me 3 days, a day to make it, a day to find out where you are, and a day to send it. So on the third day, I think we're in Genoa, Italy or something. Son-in-law gives the cat a single room. About 12 o'clock at night, the guitar player, Bright Moments, he wakes up with this nightmare trying to get some sunrise room. So don't come in here. So Kenny, he's sleeping, and the shutters open up, and he feels what they call a witch ride in your back. He feels it, and he's getting ready to turn over. His voice of his dead father comes on and say, Kenny, whatever you do, don't turn over around. So the next day, we come down to breakfast. Kenny's got a suit and tie on. Good morning, gentlemen. May I help you with your luggage? It was a complete transition. So that's just one story.
Wow. So that made you a believer, huh?
I can't deny what I've seen, you know.
How logistically, you know, how were so many musicians, you know, how did they all travel around the world? You know, how was that paid for? You know, I mean, it's such a big group, the Arkestra.
Well, I know, because, you know, like big bands like Disney had his grants, you know, Lenny Goodman, he was rich, you know. So it was the people just seeking the music, you know. I mean, I've been rode a tour bus all around New York for years. And then it's start flying places, you know. It's just like now, it's like, I don't know how many people on the gig for London, but, you know, I'm waiting for my flight information now.
Travel is so expensive now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable what they're doing. But that's how it is. It's been written. So it's been written, that's for sure.
Well, it's so great that it's continued, you know, and with all the members of the group, because especially in the 80s, so many groups like really cut down on personnel because it was so expensive, and electronics came in, and
What?
you know, started using electronic drums and keyboards for horns and all that kind of stuff.
Right, I know. That's the competition. You know, I'm 69 years old, and you got a 20-year-old that plays his ass off, sight reads, dances, plays keyboard, sings, you know. Yes, I'll do the gig for $200 a week. So it's the spirit of the music that keeps everybody here. That's what it is. Because it's not about making no money. It's all been the spirit of the music.
But you still got to eat, you know?
Right, that's true. And that's why I know I've been blessed, because, you know, I have all this going on, you know. And that's a blessing, you know. If I can be a blessing to somebody, you know, that's what it is.
When did you start the Cosmic Krewe, and how does that differ from the Arkestra?
Well, it's the Cosmic Krewe actually started when I was in Vermont. We did a gig at the Dartmouth College, and Don Glasgow, the trombone player, was the director for the Barbary Coast Jazz Ensemble. He was one of the first members of the Cosmic Krewe. Steve Ferraris, percussionist, and Adam Klippel, who's a young kid going to school up there. And then Stacy Starkweather was up there. So we started the band, and we were able to tour. We went to Europe, and it's the music. We play a lot of Sun Ra arrangements. I did a tribute to Sun Ra in Burlington Jazz Festival. So they know the music. It's been a little souped up. That's for sure. So, but then there was a connection with the New Orleans crew. So then we merged and put on this Live at Jimmy's concert with a couple members of the group Fish, who are good friends of mine, And we've been doing some other stuff, Yeah, Trey Anastasio is great cat, We say it was down New Orleans. I said, Trey, why don't you tell some people about it? He said, oh, it's already done. I told 4 people. So we get to the sound check. There's a line around the corner. People sitting out waiting. So it's like you ever hear that record Live at Jimmy's? It's fun thing. It's been 25 years since that's happened, but they still talk about it.
He's an incredible guitar player. Is he about as good of a guitar player as you've played with?
Oh yeah, he's good. He's been studied. It's like there's certain things I was showing in the Sun Ra stuff. He said I had to go into this Indian raga type chants, There's a whole different way playing with that, He's very talented. Even Mike Gordon, all them cats, they're bad, I remember like one time I went out to the house. That's my bird clock. So I went out in the house and the door locked behind me, and I got caught in a mosh pit, at their gigs. And they yeah. Well, I remember
stuff.
Yeah, so my hats off to them. Hats off to Barenaked Ladies also, because it's great cats. It's like one time during the pandemic, some man, I'm too broke to pay attention. He sent me a couple bucks. He's one of the most influential musicians in Canada. Kevin Hearn. So he always has my support. And I'll give him.
What is your U2 credit?
We actually had a private party, a private show at the Apollo. They had set up a scrim, and we were on a catwalk behind the scrim. And at the queue, they dropped the scrim, and it's like James Carter and all, a lot of cats, So I wonder where that is. It was great, and they treated us like kings, So, and they've had people like, when you're walking, walking like this, you need tickets. I need 2 tickets. I need 5 tickets. And it was sold out,
Scalpers.
Yeah.
Not a politically correct term anymore, right?
Huh?
Not a politically correct term anymore, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah.
What's 1 or 2 of your favorite compositions to play live?
Well, my own, was it Champions, which I wrote in New Orleans for the Saints when they were the Aints. People would come to the games wearing paper bags over their heads.
Before Katrina, yeah.
Yeah. And then I was down there when they were coming back with the trophy. And they kept handing the trophy out the windows so people can rub it and say, "She lucky you didn't get ripped off." But yeah, that and it's a constant influx of music. It's like I want to do this song, Funk If I Know. I mean, funk has a darker side, which we try to put together in New Orleans, but I just found the chart and had it charted. And so, there's a lot of music to play, that's for sure.
Is there a favorite Kool in the Gang song for you to play? Would it be the one where you get your solo or something else?
Well, we don't play Victory. I just seen a video of that. There's a lot of steps. It reminds me when I had knees. But plus, I'm so used to playing Jungle Boogie. That's the only solo I get. So just add some stuff. It's fresh. I mean, all the songs are, we're playing it for a long time. So, but Open Sesame is one that, because that's a challenge.
Who's playing keys now on something like Summer Madness?
Oh, Curtis Williams. We call him Fitz. He's our musical director. Plus, he's a hellacious alto player. So sometimes we'll have the four horns. Believe me, he's playing his ass off. I'll try to send you some stuff. Like a full show or something.
That'd be great. I would love that.
All right.
I always love Summer Madness live, especially. It's a favorite.
Yeah, well, we still do that.
I like to ask guests, Michael, to share with me and share with viewers their 5. If you could only have 5 albums to listen to, none that you played on, but by other people, what would be your 5 top records?
None that I played on. Well, you got to Love Supreme. Most of this from dead people.
That's fine. They don't have to be living. Don't have to be living.
Oh, okay.
This is all-time albums. It could go back to the 60s, whenever.
Yeah, you got to be Clifford Brown, Wayne Shorter, all of that stuff. I try to play often because, believe me, I forgot a lot in the music. I've forgotten so much music, but that'll keep you fresh. I mean, even the Nat Adderley, it's like I listen to Arturo Sandoval and Faddis and James McDonald, and I listen to Whitney. I listen to everybody. It's like, but see, it's like somebody said you have to train your ear to nature. Listen to the birds. And Spike used to say it was cool. Listen to the birds. So there's something to that, just the sounds, I noticed because since my hearing is fading, I just listen to the frequencies and tones, and that's, if you ever get a chance, look at a book called The Cosmic Octaves. It's a origin of harmony. It's dealt with the planets, the motions. It's called The Cosmic Octave. So I have a lot of my thesis based on that when I get the time to finish it. But there's so much music. I mean, I love the Chris and the fellas, Snarky Puppy. I play with Chris. He's a player,
I like those new groups like them and Galactic and Lettuce. I mean, they got real horns and they're good,
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get in touch with Stanton. I think I'm on one of his records called All Cooked Out or something. Yeah, he's a good drummer.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. I got to see his trio play in LA one time. Really good.
Yeah.
What would you tell somebody who maybe has not gotten familiar with Sun Ra? What's a good way for them to kind of dip their foot in the water, you think?
There's a record called, it's got Enlightenment on it. What's the name of that tune? Oh, actually, This is the one I mixed. It's got Angels and Demons in Play, Astro Black.
Hold it up a little higher. What's the name of the CD itself?
Swirl. Down here somewhere.
Okay. What year is that?
Yeah. It was just came out. It was nominated for a Grammy, but I think Christian McBride won. Yeah, that's one way. Enlightenment, you know, it's. I'll tell you, I can't remember the name of the album.
Is there a project that you're the most proud of, Michael?
Well, I'm proud of that. I wrote a song called Crips Waltz for My Knees. Because when I tore my tendon, I was on the road with Sun Ra, and we did 2 more shows with my leg on a piano bench. And until the pain said I go home, and I went to the studio and recorded something called Crips Waltz. I'm proud of that one because the first note is you feel the pain. Yeah. But I've been working with some people over in Jala, and we're all instrument makers, So I'm proud of that stuff, and all the Kool the Gang stuff that stood the test of time, and hopefully my wife's record will stand the test of time. It sounds good.
Yeah, so she's kind of a jazz singer, and she also sings with Cosmic Krewe, right?
Yes. She's from, it's called the Phipps family in Newark. They're the first family of jazz out of Newark. So she's been singing a long time. And I tell you what, as long as she's singing, she's happy. And
I would say one of the differences I noticed, I guess, with Cosmic Krewe versus Arkestra is there's a little more funk in the mix with Cosmic Krewe, right?
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
But Sunrise, there's a lot of songs that he has that are really funky. There's but it's basically straight ahead jazz, but then he takes a side. So it's a combination of all that stuff, Even that record you talk about, Languidity, you got tons of songs like that. So you got Sunrise, where he would write a song and sometimes he just name it by whatever day it is. And then it was like, sometimes he said, well, that's the day when we have a song like this from last year. We'll call this one 1924 A. So he's got over 100 songs called Discipline. So the man cannot live without discipline. That smacks me in the face all the time.
So I tell my son, he's 17.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I feel for you.
Yeah. What do you think was Sun Ra's greatest talent out of everything?
I think to bypass death. He would always try to bypass death. The music I've heard from him is like, even with June Tyson singing and the combination he would put together would move people all around the world. Yeah. If you look at some of the footage from live Under the Sky in Japan, even the stuff he did in East Berlin, I mean, when the wall was up, we were there. Then when it came down, people from the East Berlin would come over and look in the store windows. You had fresh fruit and cassette players, and You know, it's like, so that made it, that was a big impact, you know, because he's got some fans all around the world, but, you know, especially in Germany. We did a festival in Germany, and pouring down rain over the Sunrise stage. It was, the sun was shining. All the critics really, they couldn't believe that. You know. So I've seen some, you know, when you look at Sunrise, you see that glimmer in his eye. He's smiling, and you know, that's worth it.
Wow. Did he look down his nose at all at you doing something like Kool the Gang, or did he care? Or
Oh yeah, he was, you know, so you're over to the human thing. You know, I've had times when he look, I was cool, and we had a gig in Pittsburgh, so I decided I wanted to fly to the gig, and I got there late. So when I walk in the club, Sunrise still on stage, the band's over there eating, and I go to help him off the stage. He said, "This ain't no rock and roll band." And he just, bam, right in my chest. And he hits hard. So that night, the band was called Sunrise Arkestra plus Victim. Because he would always change the name of the band. And I took it like parental guidance. Because, I mean, there's so many, back then, I was like, it's almost, I remember him firing Al Evans. And Al Evans, he was one to, we were in Chicago, and Sunrise was playing a solo part, and Al Evans, he asked somebody, "You got a cigarette?" You know, howling off the stand. And so Sunrise, he said, "There's a big lake out there, fellas." And his manager, Alton Abraham, he says, "Don't worry, Sonny, I'll talk to him." So they cornered him, and Al Evans said, "You know, I want you to go home and read your Bible." And pulled out this long ass 45. He said, "What did I do?" He said, "It's not what you did, it's what you might do. You go home and read your Bible, you know." And that's the last time I seen Al Evans. Yeah, so. Yeah, he had to rehearse. It's gotten lax because, you know, there's no real enforcer. Marshall used to be the first one to say, "Hey, my band is the creator's band." You know, so there was no enforcer. We had to rehearse. You know, if you living at the house, you know, you had to rehearse. Simple. So.
and what about the visual aspect of the presentation?
The visual aspect of presentation?
Yeah, live, you know, the costumes and yeah, things like that. I mean, did he pick that stuff out, or did he leave leeway for you guys to pick out certain things? Or
well, when I first got with Sunrise, it was like, he said, "Put this on." I said, "It looks like a curtain." "No, you got it on backwards. You got it." So, you know. And there is a lot of influence with the Cosmic Krewe on apparel, because he's from like the minstrel time. It's about people coming to see you, not just hear you. And that's modus operandi that I've maintained. You know. Yeah.
how did you injure your knees? Was it on, you know, performing, or just happened, or what?
Well, I've had, throughout the years, I've had slips on stage and the wet stage, and just severed my tendon. You know, I've had basketball injuries. I've had, you know, and a lot of it comes from, as a kid, my cousin used to put me in figure fours all the time. We used to wrestle and stuff, you know, So they've been through a bit. But it's a new thing because the nerve endings trying to communicate through plastic and titanium. That's where I'm at right now. So my left leg will lock up. I have to lift it up myself. So all I can do is do what they tell me to do. So I do that every day. I mean, I have to, else I'll stiffen up.
Yeah, I can relate. I had a hip done a few years ago, and it's, still not like it was before,
Right. And I've heard stories of people that had knee replacement out playing soccer. Not I. Yeah.
Yeah. So, any advice for young horn player out there, maybe who might want to try jazz or funk music?
Play what you. Since a lot of people, they'll be humming an internal song and don't know it. So try to play what you hear yourself humming. Just the groove. Just pay attention to the tempo, the intervals of the notes that you play. So it's a pleasant thing. It's like going to a safe house. And just keep the flow going. Because every person is a very spiritual person, and it's just to lock it all together. Just so you have to be able to emulate whatever you hear while you're hearing it. And it's a part of the music. It's part of the Sun Ra tradition, because sometimes the music is, you see the music, but you still have to play what you feel. So it works itself out. And just keep practicing. If you get one part right, do it again.
Do you also play flugelhorn or flute or anything else? Or
Yeah, flugelhorn. I got a flumpet over here somewhere, but it's always been trumpet. I play at keyboards. This is the neighborhood.
Yeah, I got some drums here.
Yeah.
Keyboard, yeah.
And that's my wife's keyboard. So,
And what's that gold record for?
that's some cool stuff. There's one over there is a fish thing. About that. Something I did with fish. There's a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, so As One album right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of them missing. That's good.
So how can people keep up with what you got coming, where you're going to be, new music, all that good stuff?
Well, go to the Cosmic Krewe, the website for one thing. But I'm getting ready to revamp that because, I really haven't heard anything coming bouncing back. So it's a couple months I'll be able to get something together because there's so much stuff I got to put it all in one spot.
So go to the website, and are you going to be doing dates, you think, throughout the rest of the year? Or?
Well, the Kool the Gang calendar runs all to December 18th. So I'm just looking at this now, I'll see what happens.
You doing any of those cruises?
No, I don't think so.
Las Vegas at all?
Yeah, my wife mentioned something about Vegas. I haven't seen that on the itinerary. And then they're always trying to work on getting a residency there, but I haven't heard, But I'll try to send you the schedule and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, send it over, and we'll keep our eyes out and our ears open as always. And, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me and share your stories with the audience. And thanks for all the music over the years too, Michael.
Thank you. Yeah, keep listening.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Truth in Rhythm. A big thank you goes out to our guest as well as to you, the viewer and listener. Also, much gratitude to Pleasure for supplying the show's funky opening and closing music. As a reminder, you can always access the complete list of linked shows by episode at funkandstuff.net. I urge you to support this program and receive the extra benefits along with that by subscribing to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube and sharing it with funk, R&B, and jazz lovers, joining Truth and Rhythm's membership program at Patreon, submitting a donation at funkandstuff.net, buying Everything is on the One, the First Guide to Funk book at Amazon, shopping at the Funky Things store for cool merchandise at funkandstuff.net, and linking through funkandstuff.net for all of your Amazon purchases. In addition, if you're an artist or anyone seeking proven, results-oriented professional marketing, PR, writing, or editing consultation or production, check out the media services section at funkandstuff.net. Also, I encourage you to drop me a line at scottg@funkandstuff.net. I love the feedback, suggestions, guest requests, appearance and sponsorship inquiries, and just talking about my favorite subject, groove-based music. For now, and as always, this is Scott Dr. GX Goldfine saying, keep on vibing to the rhythm of the one.